Goye, Deloisi, Rebecca. I should probably say Rebecca Thomas. I am a Mi'kmaq person, poet, activist. I do lots of diversity and inclusion work for my job with the province, and generally a lover of life and someone who wants to make the world better for my community. I think for me, a lot of what I do is focused on trying to improve the lives of others. Helping folks who may not always have a good grasp on how they can do that, especially if they're coming from a place of privilege or they have a bias that they're not necessarily aware of. And so for me, I do that really holistically. I do that through my artwork as a writer. I have a kids book coming out soon, and I talk to like little kids about that stuff, and then I do work with executive people who make more money than me and I do that through advising and strategy development of diversity inclusion practices for organizations. Creativity, the way I see it, is something that encompasses so many other things. So when I try to be creative, I also try to be kind. And when I'm creative, I also try to be funny. And when I'm creative, I try to be critical, and I wrap all of that into the kind of creativity that I do. So whether that be through storytelling or through artwork or poetry or strategy or being at meetings with big important people, it's a way that I try to connect with people. So I try to be creative in a way that suits individuals to reach them on their level. I'm trying to work on rest. I do a lot. I sometimes get spread pretty thin, and the world can be really exhausting. So I'm trying really hard to refer away and push other people to take on the challenge of making the world better so that I can rest. The most proud of is when I have students reach out to me from all across Canada who ask to use my poetry, or they say that they're doing a project on me. I have Skyped into classrooms in France, and I have Skyped into conversations in Saskatchewan. I have had just students and youth from all over who think that I am worth their time and energy, and that is what I am the most proud of, is being able to create some sort of legacy where kids see me as a role model. I had this one person reach out to me, and they had written a stanza in their poetry about the Justin Trudeau blackface thing, because I want to say she, but it could be they, so I'll just stick with they. So they asked me to review their stanza, and in it they made reference to like kind of Indigenous people as though, like, as a comparison, you know, because this person is of South Asian descent, and made this note, like this idea of like Indian, but like a different kind of Indian, and I kind of said that their culture and their right to exist was just as important, and you didn't need to compare it to like an Indigenous struggle, so that, you know, that they were a clever enough writer to go beyond that. And then what they took away from that and then sent me again was this transformation piece of poetry that was so much more rich, because they weren't trying to compare themselves to something else, but rather, you know, taking a stand on their own and saying, this is my culture, my community. And it was just a really beautiful kind of piece, and I thought that was really impactful. And it was just over Instagram messaging, you know, it wasn't anything published or anything like that, but it was far more human, I guess. Not everything needs to be written or made to share, that things can be made and be written for you, for your therapy, for your mental health, for fun, that you don't have to be perfect in what you put out into the world either, although I find myself needing to take that advice because I scrutinize my work quite a bit, and that to do something 1,000 times. You won't get good at it until you do it 1,000 times or more. Sometimes you'll be excellent at one thing right away, but other times it's going to take you a long time, and whether or not you want to share that progress, it's up to you. But not everything has to be shared, so don't feel like it's okay to keep a part of yourself for yourself, and to do it with passion and with love and with anger and pain and everything. Like, you don't need to hold back, but not everything needs to be shared.